You weren't designed to blend in. You were made to rattle illusions and stir awake what the world tried to bury. Let that settle. There's a reason why people shift when you show up. One moment, they're all praises. Next, it's like you've turned into their favorite villain. Some folks don't know if they want to admire you, mirror you, or just get out of your way. Here's the truth. They know you're not one of them. And it shakes them to their core. All they know is how exposed they feel just by being around you. Let's not lie to ourselves. You felt the static. The strange glances, the tight-lipped smiles, the forced enthusiasm wrapped in the backhanded compliments. What they don't realize is authenticity hits harder than noise. Science even backs it. Your energy registers before your words ever do. You don't just walk in with peace. You walk in like a mirror that doesn't lie. And that's what leaves people uneasy, like they suddenly saw themselves without the filters. You're not here to perform. You're not here to play nice for comfort. You're here to disturb the whole script. When you step into a room, the shift is instant. Not because you say something outrageous, but because your stillness speaks truth louder than most people's noise. Your energy, it's not surface-level charisma, it's soul-level honesty, and that alone shakes the space. Some will flinch. Some will avoid eye contact like you saw right through their highlight reel. You didn't call anyone out, but your presence did. That's what it means to be a light in a room full of shadows. They've been watching your journey like it's a puzzle missing pieces. While everyone else checked the boxes, you burned the list. While they follow timelines, you follow truth. You're not behind. You're not lost. You're just playing by higher instructions. Your life was built for depth, not speed. Alignment over applause, purpose over performance. You weren't made to chase titles. You were made to carry something heavier, legacy-breaking clarity. Let's clear this up. You didn't miss the opportunity. The opportunity missed you. They didn't reject you because you lacked something. They rejected you because you carried too much. Too much awareness, too much presence, too much truth for a room that was never ready to hear it. And guess what? You didn't need their approval. You didn't need their applause. You've been growing in silence, rooted in places they can't even pronounce. They feel your presence before you say a word. Not because you demand attention, but because your being interrupts the performance. You remind people of what they've silenced in themselves, of dreams buried, of truths avoided, of masks worn too long. You're not intense. You're just awake. And in a sleeping world, that alone is a revolution. Your existence gives others permission to remember. You've lost people, not because you were wrong, but because your clarity disrupted their confusion. They needed you quiet to stay comfortable. But comfort was never your assignment. You were made to rise, even if it meant rising alone. And now, your light is undeniable. What once made you too much is what makes you necessary. And you weren't stopping. The world is just finally catching up. You don't even have to speak. And still, people feel exposed around you. You walk in with zero mask. You live with conviction most only post about. And that alone makes the world uncomfortable. They don't hate your depth. They fear what your depth reveals in them. You weren't made to be digestible. You were made to be disruptive in the best possible way. The reason people misunderstand you is because you're solving problems they haven't admitted exist. You see patterns before they become headlines. You speak truth before it becomes obvious. You're not being extra, you're just early. You're not intense, you're just in tune. And one day when their foundations crack, they'll come looking for the clarity you've been living with all along. They smirk, they side-eye your insight. They whisper that you're too deep. But you've been watching closely. They're copying you in silence, using your words, quoting your thoughts, shifting their lives based on the things they once laughed at. You weren't the weird one. You were the blueprint they pretended not to need. You didn't show up to repeat cycles. You came to dismantle them. While everyone else accepted the dysfunction as normal, you started asking dangerous questions. You chose healing. You chose truth. You chose transformation. That's why it's been lonely. That's why it's been heavy. But make no mistake, you are the divine interruption this lineage was waiting for. They called you strange. They called you too much. They said you'd never fit in. But they missed the point completely. You didn't come here to fit. You came here to shift. You stopped doubting. Stopped dimming. You were never the problem. You're the pattern breaker. And it's time the world caught up to who you've been all along. Because average was never your calling. Keep rising.